3, 2, 1. In many ways, this channel is a direct result of Rush Limbaugh. Let me explain. I remember hearing Rush. It had to be early 90s, late 80s. I was working in the Louisiana State Senate for a pretty famous senator at the time, and we had just legalized gambling in the state of Louisiana, even though it's constitutionally illegal to gamble in the state of Louisiana. And the news media of the time supported the legalization of gambling and was not telling the truth of what was happening in the legislature of Louisiana that allowed for gambling to be legalized. And this was shocking to me because people were openly being bribed. And the media did nothing about it. They hid this great scandal. And I was very frustrated driving back from Baton Rouge to where I was living in a little town called Hammond, Louisiana, which was idyllic and bucolic and beautiful. So after a while, driving along, I just started flipping through radio stations, and for some reason I was on the AM dial, and I heard this booming voice coming through, and he started talking politics, and within 15 minutes he was making great sense to me. And he was the only person I heard in the media that was saying what was happening in global politics, in federal politics, and it reflected against the media, what the media was telling us. And that was my frustration of the moment, was the media is lying to us. And Rush was saying the media is lying to us. And here we are today with the whole fake news concept that basically started with Rush Limbaugh telling the truth, which prompted bumper stickers nationwide saying, "Rush is right," and "Ditto, Rush, we agree with you. The media is lying to us. The media is corrupt, and the media has been absolutely distorting everything that is happening in the political sphere." So ever since then, I followed Rush, and I've always had a mentality since then just to follow the truth. Yes, slings and arrows happen, but the truth is the truth. And when you start discovering truths in everyday lives, you start discovering new things. One of my passions is archaeology, and I look at the world a little bit different because I look at everything historically, and in many ways academia has to distort certain truths that we find in archaeology, and has created a scientific community that's very closed-minded and refuses to look at absolute truths. The same with politics. The media is very closed-minded, and they refuse to look at absolute truths. That's why the Democrats have gotten away with so many scandals for such a long time. And the Republicans, God bless them, have just been a great target for the media to make scandalous, evil people that allow for actual evil to go unnoticed. And Rush shined a light on these evils that were occurring. And he's been doing it for 30 years, became very successful because he just keeps telling the implacable truth. Anybody that listens to him for 6 weeks, they're a listener for life. Anybody that says Rush is horrible and is mean and evil has never really listened to him for a day. They've heard some outtakes, and that's about it. But they've never invested 3 hours or 20 hours or 30 years of listening to verify whether this guy is in fact lying or not. And so this is where we are politically. This is where we are as a country in America. And thank God for Rush Limbaugh for coming out and telling the truth. The truth is constant and unfallible, and Rush has made many loyal listeners telling the truth all the time that after a while becomes verified. Conservative political people, they look for the truth, they see what's happening in a program or political policy and verify whether it's true or not, or works or doesn't. And the loyal listeners that Rush has created has inspired us to do things, and he's inspired me to come on YouTube and have a political channel, because he's taught me how to think politically in many ways. Although actually my family started because we talked about geopolitical matters at the dining room table. As long as I can remember, my first real good memory is probably about 7 years old, and I'm 54 now. So for 54 years, I've been listening to, digesting actual, true political discourse. Again, my dad was in the American embassy system until I was 11 years old. So for 11 years, I had the inside skinny of what was happening globally, and this even included when the prisoners were taken in Iran, and the U.S. embassy was taken over. And I remember being very upset at the president at the time, Jimmy Carter, for totally failing the international community and allowing Iran to become an Islamic state for no good reason except for his feelings. And we've seen that for the past 30 some odd years, Iran has been just a thorn in the side of global peace, and they have created just huge terroristic states. So, you know, if and when you travel on an airplane and you get frisked all the time, and you have to go through all those machines and x-rays, it's because of Iran, it's because of Jimmy Carter, it's because of terrorism and nothing else. But yet the media won't hold these people accountable. Rush does. And so thank you, Rush, for all that you've done for all this time. And you have friends like me out there who are going to talk louder and support you. And you have your very good friend, Bo Snerdly. Actually, Bo Snerdly inspired this video because he's come out from behind the booth and from behind the microphone, and has come on to Twitter and into the public sphere, and is defending his very, very dear friend and very good friend, I would say his best friend, Rush Limbaugh. And thank you for doing that, Bo. Thank you for taking that actual risk. You and Kit Carson were able to do wonderful things with your nom de guerres, your nom de plume, I would guess we'd say. But now you're coming out and you're fighting vigorously for the truth. You're fighting vigorously for the black community, politically speaking, and you're defending your dear friend Rush Limbaugh. And I'm grateful that you're doing that, because we can get behind you and just talk about the truth. Finally, Washington, D.C. has endeared themselves to nobody except for the crooked and the dishonest, because they have been able to, with their friends in the media, successfully misrepresent the truth. And this dishonesty has led to our fractured system, where the media pumps the people that lose elections, and they bring out the minority vote as a hero in every conflict, so that as we try to govern, the consent of the vanquished, the consent of the losers, politically speaking, doesn't allow anything to come together. It just remains fractured. Everything remains fractured, and a nation divided cannot succeed. So the constant Republicans are stupid, Republicans are idiots, Trump, bad, just fractures your political sphere. And now we are in a fractured country that I don't see any way we can rebuild it, because everybody's invested in their own truth, that they cannot come together and reason appropriately over any policy. You have the pragmatic and practical conservatives, and you have the over-emotional woke leftists who support a complete failed Marxist ideology. Rename it, recolor it, do it different. Marxism is Marxism is Marxism. And so as long as the media refuses to look at each policy and look at it in a rational way, then we're going to remain fractured, because you're going to have the leftist Marxists watching the mainstream media, and then you're going to have your pragmatic conservatives watching places like YouTube, because pragmatism is boring, and so everybody has to look and digest their news as we do. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Thank you, Rush Limbaugh. Thank you, Bo Snerdly. And let's start looking at life pragmatically. And let's start looking at issues conservatively and value what happens realistically when we implement policies. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Charles Chambers. This is the Breadcrumbs Project. And I try to keep videos to 2 minutes, and here we are at 10, over 10 minutes, but I just had a lot to say. Again, thank you for watching. I try to follow the breadcrumbs of the truth so that I can get to a whole loaf of what is really happening and try to spit out any of the pebbles that I find along the way that are just brutal lies that hurt the system. So thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting the channel, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.